Hello, Sweet Trading Cards here. I got something a little bit different today. I got a package back from the Fanatics, excuse me, Fanatics Collect Vault. Some cards that I'd set in there to try selling through there. These are kind of what I've got back. A few of them I bought off there, but a couple of them. But for the most part, it is cards that I had sent back to me that didn't sell for enough, or I'll kind of go over kind of each card, what I thought. Originally, I had sent a bunch in, and I've sold quite a few over there. I did like the fact that the seller fees were lower, that kind of deal. I originally liked the fact that, oh, these peanuts are going everywhere. I hate this stuff. I did like the fact that they kind of punished you for overpricing the card, although I ran into some issues with how they implemented that. So that was a deal. And some other things that I'll go over with you as far as how I how I feel versus selling on eBay, and stuff like that. What I would use them for in the future if I did. All that kind of stuff. So, meanwhile, also getting to look at some cards. So, there's not a lot left. I'd sold most of the stuff. Obviously, you got to pay to ship them there. I guess you could have them technically sent right from PSA, but then you can't, triage which ones you actually want there and not. So, you'd have to pay to ship them there, and then should you not sell them or want them back, then you got to pay to get them back. So, and it's not super expensive, but it's also not cheap. So, and let's go ahead and get this open. I believe there's a pretty wide variety of stuff. I don't know if there's any basketball left in here. I'm fine with most of my stuff. It's primarily baseball, but this one might be one of the more diverse ones there. Okay. I don't love that if they put a ID number on the back of each one. Guess I'm going to have to clear those up. Okay. So, just taking a look here. We've got 95 Finest, 1 Gonzalez Refractor, Mint 9. It's off cut left, right. Pretty much, I'm sure the reason why it got a 9. Still, a 9 on first couple years of Finest can usually be pretty good. This card still should have had some pretty decent value. Gonzalez, maybe a little underrated. 2-time MVP. Didn't make it into the haul, but yeah, I don't love that they put these stickers right on there, and that leaves some residue. So that's another concern if you're sending into there. I mean, I understand they got to label their cards for inventory purposes and stuff, but I don't know. I don't love that. But anyways, this card didn't sell. Never really got any offers on it. When you got a card like this that doesn't sell very often, their predetermined value is usually based off card ladder. I'll go over in a few minutes when it doesn't, but even then, if it's a card that hasn't sold for a while and maybe should have gone up or something, and they're not really reflected there, then not only do you take the big seller hit, they also put that, oh, this is the value of the card right on the sell and right on your page, so people think that you're overpriced on the card when maybe you're not, comparatively, if cards have gone up or something since then. So that's kind of a weird one. If you're trying to sell something that's pretty obscure like that, I would probably not. This is a 1990 Bowman Inserts, Bo Jackson. This is a painting. Got a 9. This was a sweepstakes card, so a lot of these got filled out and sent in. There's still a lot of them around like this. I have some more. 10 of these has gone, or 10s have sold really high, so I went ahead and tried it. I got this one, and it came back a 9. And at the time, there was even ones of those sold for like 35, 40, so I sent this in, tried to get it sold. Never got an offer. Again, just like the other one, obscure cards like that, I would probably not send to Fanatics Live. You just don't have enough eyeballs on them. Or not Fanatics Live, Fanatics Collect. This one, I don't need to cover that. This is Wagner 9. This is the Pinnacle rookie. This is the 94, so technically actual real rookie year. There's a few cards of those because he was a higher draft pick. This one, not one of the most sought after, but pretty good. Even at a 9, this should still sell for pretty good, about 60 or so. Pinnacle's not real great for grading, usually. Pinnacle score, a lot of black edges, foiling that tends to flake along the edges. So getting a 9 here is pretty good. Even with his Hall of Fame election, didn't get much view on that. So not the cards I would send into there in the future. Here we have a 93 SP. This is the first year they did SP. This is a Merino insert. Got an 8. Should still have some pretty good value at an 8. It's a die cut. Hard card to get in higher values. And, but while not quite as obscure, definitely didn't get much traction with it. I think that's one that they also only had like a really old sell on and didn't get a good one. This is a card that there hasn't been any graded sales of. This is the 96 Skybox Premium, the Pay Dirt, and this is the red one. You can see with the red. So nice color match with Dion there, and it is 49ers uniform. These different colors on these were supposed to be limited to 10% of the print run. So there was red, blue, and I think purple. And then the base ones were gold. So kind of a parallel, but they didn't like print exact odds. So it's kind of hard to, nobody really knows exactly how many were made specifically. The only odds is just that there was a pay dirt. But these colored ones were definitely much less common. One of these has never sold at this grade. And because of that, they just randomly assigned a price to it. And it was really low. It was like 20. Now, you can dispute that with them. And I did. They did raise it up to like 50. Not what I told them I thought the card was, based off of other sales of the different colored premiums and stuff. And because of that, not only if I had sold it, I mean, it lists there on the deal that, oh, we value this at 50. And then I, try to sell it at 75 or something. And people think I'm way over. And not only that, had I sold it, they would have cut 12% off instead of 6% off. So I had a big issue with cards like this. If you have a card that hasn't sold, do not send it to Fanatics Live unless it's like extremely big. But you got something obscure like that, even a bigger name like Dion, nope. Despite all the recent hype he's had and stuff, still not. Now this is Ken Griffey. This is the 90s All-Star, or Best of the AL, Donruss. So technically a second-year card. This is a supplemental set. Didn't come in packs. You just bought a deal. And these sell really well. The 10 is, I believe, like a $800 card. The 9s have sold, $60, $70. But I had it priced, I think, at $70, which is right at what they had it, and Card Ladder had it. Never got a single offer for Ken Griffey Jr. I don't know why. I could have thrown it on an auction, but their auctions were hit and miss for me. So, yeah, I would stay away from obscure stuff like that. If you got stuff that's very common, well, anyways, I'll tell you later on what I think does sell well there. And once we go through these. So here we got Matt Chapman. This is the Update Refractor. These were for a Chrome update. So these were only in Target that year. Gem Mint Tim. This card is actually, his last sale was like 180, 190 is what Card Ladder has it at. So, I mean, Matt Chapman's, he's good. He's a star, but I don't think he's ever been, top of the hobby kind of guy. So, but because of the scarcity of that year and whatnot, yeah, kind of a nice little niche card there with the Update Refractor there. Here's another one that had never sold, a Gem Mint 10 of this card. This is the Gold Minted Shota Imanaga. I fought with them over a price on this one too. Twice put in recommendations to increase it. I got a lot of offers on this card, but I turned off offers eventually because the offers were way lowball. If you look into gold minteds for anybody of note, you'll know that they're worth more than $50, which is what they were saying, and that's what the offers I was getting it were. So regardless, I could have sold that card, but not at the offers that I was getting. So I'm not, I had no intent to sell it that low. I held on to it, and it's now back with me, and we'll try it on eBay. So here we are. I'm going to show both these together. So we got a couple Matt Bowman First autos. We have a 10 and a 9. I had originally sent 2 10s and a 9. I auctioned off the first 10 right around the Japan series when he made his debut, and I think sold it for $260. The 10 right now is selling for around $200 since he's come back up, and as he keeps playing better, I expect it to go up some more. So these I could have sold on there, but I actually pulled them off once he went down and his price dropped because I wasn't willing to sell them at that low. So I'm probably looking at listing those here pretty soon with him being back up and playing well now. So this is one of the cards I actually got off an auction there. Manny Machado, Topps Chrome, Gem 10. Picked this up last year right before the playoffs. And I believe I got it for $49. And I never listed that for sale. Never quite cleared what I thought was a decent profit for me, so I'm just kind of sitting on it. Here we got one. This is Upper Deck Young Guns Fabian Zetterlund. I had bought this off an auction, got it pretty cheap, I think under $30. At the time he was with the Sharks and was top 2 line, kind of a fan favorite. They surprisingly traded him at the trade deadline, I think kind of to the shock of everybody, including himself and most Sharks fans. But he went to the Senators, ended up on like the 3rd or 4th line, didn't get much play, much run or anything there. So hasn't moved much, but I hope maybe he signs somewhere where he can get some action and whatever. I never listed that, so I don't know if it would have sold. But regardless. Here we got another hockey. This is Yaroslav Askarov. This is the purple from Upper Deck Ice, so a parallel rookie card. This is another one that didn't have any sales as a 10, so they didn't price it very well. Never got much interest, so I brought it back here. And then another Yaroslav Askarov. This is the Young Guns 10. This one was sitting up around 90. I did get some offers, a little low, never ended up making a sale. He got hurt, missed a lot of the second half, even for down at the AHL. He's most likely, barring something weird happening, he will be the starting #1 goaltender for the Sharks next year. I expect him to have pretty good value. Once, though his values dropped, I just pulled it off the market because I wasn't willing to sell it for where it was getting, even though I did pick that up pretty cheap and graded it myself. So anyways, that's the cards that I got. So okay, so having looked at all those, just wanted to kind of go over here for a minute what I would consider sending into Fanatics Collect versus eBay sales. Mainly, one thing I would consider is 9s of lower cards, maybe that didn't get the grade that I wanted, especially if that's of bigger names. They seem to sell well on auction. I don't necessarily get like a ton of money off them, but I do get more than trying to sell those on eBay sometimes, and it's usually sold quicker. Push them through auction. If you're on eBay and you're not a big auction seller, you either have to spend a lot more to promote it, or you or, you know, it doesn't move very high. So, in that regard, cards like that I was just going to dump right into auction and sell quickly, usually at a loss for grading, but just to get my money back, that would be something I would consider. Although you'd have to consider that you do have extra shipping costs to get the cards there. But generally, their fees are pretty decent. In fact, the way they bid is weird, but you know, they have you pay a buyer's premium, so whatever they're originally bidding on is actually the amount that you get, as long as you meet a certain threshold. I think it's like $15 or so. So, but anyways, in regards to that, you usually get a pretty decent amount back on those cards. So those are something I would send. I would also send well-known cards, possibly, that maybe there's a lot of. So like base refractors of top players, rookie cards or something like that. Even some of the numbered stuff, maybe not the highest numbered. The reason for that is sometimes those things on eBay can get a little cluttered. There's, you know, 20 of them, whereas on a single PSA auction, or not PSA, a single auction on Fanatics Collect is going to be less of them, most likely, of that card. So you got a little bit less still, a little bit less competition to kind of wade through for somebody to find your card. Also, if you're doing the auction service through them, you're going to have more people looking at a single time focused on that, because all their auctions end at the same time. So those Sunday night auctions do tend to get a lot of focus, and there's not the wide variety of cards that you can find on eBay at any one time. So I think that would go there. I would almost always, I don't think I would ever do buy it now on Fanatics. I won't say ever, but in the current state, I would not do Fanatics Collect buy it nows. I do like the I want to talk about the fee structure here a little bit. I like the fee structure in that normally it's 6%. That sounds great, you know, as long as you're within a certain percentage of what they deem the card is worth. And usually that goes through Card Ladder, and it's usually pretty good. But there are a couple issues. One, I had a 92 top Shaquille O'Neal rookie listed for like 115 or something. It was right at what they said it was listed at, and that was great. So I was going to get 6% fee if it sold. So unfortunately, though, the day before, one sold really low on eBay or something on an auction. So Card Ladder lowered the price, put me under that threshold, and kicked me up to 12% the day later when I sold it at what I had it listed for. So even though that had been kind of the deal, that one thing thrust me down low enough to cause that to me to lose an extra 6% on my sale. At that point, I probably should have been on eBay. I might have sold it quicker, you know, whatnot. So there's issues there. There's also the issues I told you with rarer cards, especially cards that have not sold. So new cards, if you get a new card back, I wouldn't sell anything there because there hasn't really been a set price. So that's kind of an issue. And then the other thing I would consider selling there, although if it was a super high-end card, they do tend to get really good values there. But I would also consider, you know, if I had one of those cards, you know, grail card type deals, I would probably consider maybe a different auction service there too. I'd have to think about that. But those are kind of the ups and downs of Fanatics Collect. I don't have any more cards there. I have one card that they would not send back to me. This is another thing that was weird. They wouldn't send back to me because it was a Sean Kemp Mystery Finest Refractor from 96, but it had the OC designation, and they would not assign a value to it. Because they did not have a value assigned to it, I couldn't send it to me. It would error out my request because they couldn't assign a value to it. They basically charge you a small percentage of the value to cover insurance and things like that. That's how they when you get your cards back. But I couldn't have it sent. Now, I probably could have called in and done that, but I have had horrible experiences with their customer service. I usually leave just fuming when I've had to deal with them. That's the other thing I would say is you're at the mercy of really bad customer service. Now, I think bigger sellers on there, they kind of get their own designated person. They told me when I first sent a bunch of cards in that they were assigning me a designated salesperson. I tried to email that person and never got any response back. So Regardless, I've kind of moved on from them at this point. Like I said, I may send in and do a immediately to auction, sell a bunch of 9 cards to kind of clear out some inventory, get some money back, cash flow, that kind of thing. Um, but there's also the option of doing that through PSA too. And PSA is on eBay, so you get even more eyeballs. So, but you do have a little bit higher cost. But yeah, if you're just looking to auction, and then there, obviously there's other consigners too that you can do that through. So kind of all depends. Either way, you're probably going to have some shipping costs. PSA you can avoid by having it go straight from PSA to there if you do catch it before your order ships. I don't like that because I film videos. I want to look at the card. I want to see if I can find out what was wrong with the card. And you can't really do that when you just send it directly to the vault. So I do like having the cards back to do that for my own purposes. But anyways, that's kind of my thoughts between mostly on Fanatics Collect, what I use them, what I liked, what I didn't like. If you have any questions or comments about what I've said, any different experiences, you're definitely more than welcome to comment down below. If you liked any of the cards here, most of them are probably going to be on my eBay store. I'll have a link in the description for that. You're definitely welcome to check those out. Purchase them if you'd like. I will never complain about that. Anyways, thanks for watching. Thanks for spending your time, and hope you all have a great day. Thanks for watching Sweet Trading Cards.